What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. OG here, and this is something very interesting with EA Sports. I wanted to definitely go over with you because it bodes well for the player base, right? Now, this could just be a near future thing, just a FC26 thing, a publicity stunt, if you will, or it could be seeing a change of direction for EA Sports. So I'm going to explain what I mean. But first I want to show you, right? So you see here, there's many more to come. Some more out there, obviously. But just right here, the first three, I typed in FC26 developer interview. The reason why is because these are popping up everywhere. All these creators, bigger, medium-sized, no smaller creators, obviously, because EA Sports obviously wants to get to the most people. So that makes sense. But even, I'd say, the medium-sized creators getting these meetings, getting these interviews with these developers, asking any questions they want regarding FC26 and getting in-depth answers, that is huge. It hasn't been done to this extent. That's the biggest takeaway from this, right? Where EA Sports made themselves this accessible before the release of a new game. So, let's take a look at some of just the random clips from this so you can see what kind of information you're getting out of this. And I want you to remember something too, right? We already had the gameplay deep dive trailer, which honestly, the video, it's more like a gameplay highlights video. It's not really a deep dive. But the accompanying pitch notes, which they provided 2 pitch notes now for FC26. And within those, there's even more like little mini break-offs of pitch notes. So you had the pitch notes regarding the inconsistent gameplay and all the testing and stuff FC did. Then you had the pitch notes breaking down every new feature in the game, right? You can check out my video, any of my previous couple of videos on FC26, because they all have so much information, including clips that show you the changes. For instance, like the sharper dribbling, sharper passing, the physical dribbling, the physical tussles you have on both offense and defense. The videos showing that they got rid of tackle backs, both interception-wise and dribbling-wise. All areas that really did need to be improved, right? They have everything you could want to know about FC26. The bigger inclusions into the game, new features, and then even just the smaller fine-tuning stuff. So then when you add that on top of these interviews with these developers, right, you start to see a whole different look to EA Sports FC. I want to put this into perspective. eFootball 26, right, they're a little different. They don't have new iterations that you buy every year, but they always have that big update, which then changes the game essentially from eFootball 25, 26, 27. You get what I'm saying. Well, eFootball 26 is set to come out earlier, if I'm not mistaken, than EAFC. Or even, let's argue, at the same time. The bottom line is eFootball has zero when it comes to eFootball 26, right? Definitely nothing with the developers, nothing, no clips showing what's going to be added into the game. The most we have is some leaks on some like new players coming into the game, okay? Whereas we already, of course, have that in FC26 with like Ibrahimovic, I think Alex Morgan, there was like a hint at her in the Ultimate Edition poster that Ibra has. So there's little things like that are showing you like kind of the players and stuff like that. You already have a little sneak peek into some of the kits based on some of the promo pics and things like that. But this deep dive with all of these different lead developers is something brand new. And you get so much information out of them,
and
right?
still request a pass.
So this is Neil Guides,
assisted, get that
coaching, does tactics, stuff like that.
right, and then the play styles will also help. And the other one is the attributes. If the attributes are high, you'll be more accurate with your shot.
Okay, so also, for those who don't know, David removed time finishing completely, so you can't even turn it back on. And what they've done is they replaced low driven. So now low drivens, you double tap the shoot button. So I've used it a few times. Mm-hmm. You can also do a low driven on the Trivela, a power shot as well. Mm-hmm. Every shot mechanic, I believe, apart from a chip shot, because you can't do a chip shot. Let me ask a question. What's your favorite shot type?
I personally like the low driven finesse. Yeah. I think that's one way that is very effective to hit that swerving shot to the far post,
Like a
low
Terry
and hard.
right?
Yeah, just open up your body and hit that sweet and hard along the ground. So the difference with
You see there, brilliant stuff, guys. For one, yes, we went over the fact that they removed green time shooting from the game, but just that like on the spot question from Neil is beautiful stuff, right? You can tell throughout these conversations that they aren't scripted. All right, I'll give you a little backstory. Nanick did an interview when UFL was going through some heat after they first released, doing a lot of things the players didn't like. They do a scripted podcast, and it was the dumbest thing in the world. Everyone got on Nanick for it, and rightfully so, including myself. And he was trying to defend himself in it, but you can't be a sellout like that. You can't be. And when I first saw these developer interviews, like the thumbnails for them, I thought, oh, here we go, just a bunch of butt kissing to EA Sports. And I would say there's a little bit of that. You can get hints of it. But for the most part, this is all good information that just gives you more and more details, which is huge because this is a game that you don't just download and then see if you like it. It's a game that you have to purchase. And it's not cheap either. $100 for the Ultimate Edition, which, let's be honest, most everybody, if you're getting, FC, it's for most people, not everyone, some are for career mode and stuff like that, but even if you're for career mode and not Ultimate Team, you get a lot of good bonuses. So typically speaking, you're going to want the Ultimate Edition, and you're not going to want to spend even in the regular edition, right? 50, 60, 70, I don't even know what it is now because I always get the Ultimate Edition. No matter what the case is, you don't want to purchase a game, pay your hard-earned money for something that you're not going to like or maybe not play. So the fact that they're giving all this information, they're open to all this, they're bringing issues to the forefront that they haven't for years. I mean, that is huge, right?
Tiki Taka Plus and Sice.
So this is Foot Accountant. Basically, he talks a lot about the players coming out, how it will affect the market, just as his name says, when to sell players, buy players, things like that.
Technical trickster, press proven, quick step, finesse, low driven. Dub. And he's only, one squad? 88 with a Spanish player. Okay, so that's a pretty cheap one. Talk to me about, all these player SBCs.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the fun things about Funnies is that the accessibility of, top-end content kind of goes to the expect to happen as a result.
Especially with the announcement. If there's going to be maybe a less is more sort of approach to an extent.
Yeah.
If there's going to be gameplay content, and that's a part of the... instead of just checking SBCs and evolutions every day for content, okay, what live event do we have?
Right.
That's part of it, too, to help the power curve not go as fast.
Yeah.
And to mix up the squads we're playing with. Did any of the feedback that the community gave about those leagues this year, for the Mycon League, the Maldini, where it was a fixed number of games, and it was kind of like a tournament, but it was also kind of like a cup?
Yeah.
Is some of the feedback there, did that help shape
100%.
live events and tournaments?
100%,
Okay.
yeah, and you'll kind of see that come to life in sort of the way that we'll roll out some of these live events, the tournaments. Is we definitely took the sort of the lessons, learnings, if you will, or the feedback from players around, hey, a lot of people really like that. Can bring it back? And so you'll definitely see that.
Again, just randomly going through, every one of these has their own little path they went down. So Foot Accountant being more interested in the players and stuff like that because that's what he covers, talks about a couple things. One, he talks about all the different players released, and they're near perfect right now with the footy, so they're actually slowing up the power curve this year, right? Now, I would say that this is about the time where you want to start hitting the perfect player area where players keep moving up in, overall in their attributes and stuff. Obviously, the reason they do that, let's just keep it real, is because they want our money. They want you to keep having to get more and more and more players, but the problem is that you get to a point where it gets a little monotonous, right? The player IDs start to kind of dissipate, and all the players are essentially perfect. Every player has every role in every playstyle plus, and there's not really any strategy to your team building, any weak points in any teams. So it definitely can affect the game. So one thing they're doing is slow rolling the power curve, right? Or they're slowing it down, I should say. But then that's huge news. They're going to do more and more players where you say, let's play a friendly cup, and you have to win 15 games to get the Mycon or whatever it was. They actually had that this year. And you started seeing more of that, and that is absolutely something that players love. I talk about it all the time with reference to the other two football games, eFootball and UFL. They're so dead with content, but particularly in eFootball. They make it impossible for their players, even their grinders, to get the top players. They just make it where you have to spend more money. You have to spend more and more money, and it's a gambling system. Whereas FC, you're able to earn these players, and not only in SBCs now, but they're going to do more, especially with tournaments and live events coming, where you can earn these different types of players that are definitely viable and can get into your team. That is huge. It gives you more of a purpose when you're playing, right? It's just like when we play growing up. Any of us who are actual footballers know, yes, you can go play a game anytime and you love the game, but there's nothing like playing for that championship. Or even at training when you're just, scrimmaging within your team, but then the coach throws out, winning team doesn't have to do burpees, or winning team doesn't have to run, or whatever. It makes it more of a battle, right? Now it has that championship feel because you're competing for something. Same thing when you have players, and not only players, but these top sought-after players that you win X amount of games, you can get them, and they make it challenging too. The better the player, the more wins you're going to have to get, the better you're going to have to perform. That's only right. And you were rewarded with these top players. Brilliant stuff, and you could do this with every single one of these, right? You go down a different path with each developer, and notice that it's a different developer, right? Which means that there's not just some carbon copy, answers for each one of these where it's like, all right, time to do publicity. Here's the, cookie cutter answers you want to give for everything. No, every single one of these has been going down different lanes, and I love that. And this is just randomly picking one spot. Imagine sitting down and watching these from start to finish, which is crazy because you absolutely can. So kudos to these content creators for taking advantage of great content, right? I mean, I don't know the views on these compared to like what the other views are that they get, but that's not important because the bottom line is it's all great stuff, right? This is all great stuff. Players want to make sure they're not wasting their money on this game because the franchise has been going in the wrong direction. And this is what we want to know about. This is what we want to see. These are the people that are making these games. And so far, every little tidbit that I randomly went in, right? I was listening to something interesting here where I have it paused on. Let's see if it's still there.
Fundamentals, the dribbling movement. The dribbling is 10 out of 10.
That's the first thing you're going to notice.
Yeah.
When you pick up FC26, just left stick dribbling. It's faster, more responsive, more agile.
Yeah.
And not just with the best players. Even you would give your player to a center back, they'll be able to get out of sticky situations. They're not going to be messy or anything.
Yeah. I was using Patrick Kluivert, and it felt like I was using Messi, so it's good. And obviously the goalkeepers as well. I was discussing this a bit earlier. In terms of parrying now, for Ultimate Team competitive gameplay, the speed of it is so much faster.
Well, that's what we focused on because so the problem we had last year, right? We tried to improve the game in Ultimate Team, but then the career mode players said, it doesn't feel good for us. So we made this split between the two gameplay types: authentic for the career mode guys, competitive for everyone else. So now we can make it as fast and
this is the interesting part
everyone wants,
because this is something I think will happen and should happen.
Would there ever be a way where, let's say, authentic gameplay could be put into Ultimate Team? Like there's no way to really do that.
For FC26, it's not in Ultimate Team. Ultimate Team is all about the competitive, fast-paced version of gameplay. For the future, it depends. It depends how well it's received.
Yeah. Let's go through as well. Some of the gameplay fundamentals. Left back is
all right, I'm going to click to a random spot, but you hear that, guys. I've been saying that. My hopes is that if they knock it out of the park with this, realistic mode, offline mode, it could very well be a test as to can this work and do people love it? Can we make it our, mode for everything? Because the truth is, we play Football Simulator. We want more realism. You have to kind of look what works as far as realistic that transfers over and does well on the sticks, versus the things that maybe in real life these work, but when you put it on the sticks, it takes away the skill gap, or it gives rats something to exploit, or stuff like that. And year after year after year, we are getting more and more information. These developers, no doubt, are going to get better and better at this. And then finally, this year, they have the confidence to release a authentic mode, and then what they call competitive mode. The faster paced mode is going into like Ultimate Team and just everything online. And then the offline modes will have this realistic feel. I cannot wait to play the authentic mode, right? For one, it looks like they're adding several things to, I don't know if we'll find it in these videos, but to career mode, which is huge, right? some of the best FC content is career modes, and they just totally put the mode on the back burner because of Ultimate Team. So it looks like they're starting to dip back into it because there's no doubt a huge population of players that love diving into that, career mode. It could be just one a year, right? You take that lower ranked team and lower rated team, whatever, lower division team, and you push them up the ranks, as well as building your team along the way. So you always want to see where you end up with, and you take your time with it. That's the whole point. The details off the pitch are just as fun as going in and earning your way to like a cup final and watching that cup final unfold. And now if this realistic mode knocks it out of the park, it's even better. That control on the pitch of players that are feeling and reacting, and opponents that are feeling and reacting, just like if you're watching on television only, you actually have control. If they accomplish this, I could see this accomplish a great realistic mode. I could see that easily becoming their overall mode. And for me, that's huge, right? We just have to kind of see, is it more gimmicky where, it's slowed down pace, but it's more like, animation based, right? Where they make these animations to sort of make it realistic, or is it throughout the entire game where there's skill gap there where you immerse yourself and it's part of the whole strategy of the game, part of making the game perform, and actually the choices you make on the pitch with knowledge to real football are going to help you. That's where you have true realistic gameplay, authentic gameplay as they call it. We will see if that happens. But again, just knocking it out of the park with all of this. I mean, any random spot. Let's look here.
And I'm controlling Salah. So obviously at that time he will have full stamina because I'm controlling him. You're not controlling your left back who's tired.
Yeah.
I should be able to just jet past you because you're not controlling them. Exactly. So until you switch, hopefully in my case anyway, you switch too late, I'm already gone.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's a very, very important thing.
Exactly. It is, I'll admit though, it is extreme because you could argue that, well, if a player's tired, they shouldn't be as fast. Maybe that's realistic.
But it's a video game.
It's a video game.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't have an issue with that whatsoever.
So if that's the way it is in the current build, that's the way we're going to release the game.
Yeah, good.
If people like it, we'll keep it. If they don't like it, then maybe there's somewhere in between that we can go, in the clubs version, which is kind of you have to manage your RT press, your R2 press. Right?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I saw. So Aiden asking if playlocks are still a thing. They are still a thing, and I asked yesterday about the playlocks with the fatigue. And so from what I gauged from if I play a lock and I flick it to my right winger, that player is the person that will have the full stamina, not the person that I was originally controlling.
It's whoever you're
currently controlling at that moment will have max stamina. Yeah. So that's a very important thing as well. Are we allowed to mention about that?
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know if that was. I haven't seen it.
It's outside of my area of expertise. I'm just I'm focused 100% on gameplay. So I won't even mention it then.
Because I don't even know if it's part of the embargo. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But let's go through. The first time through balls, that's a big thing because I can spam that on FC26.
Yes.
Like that. Doesn't even matter. I look for players with incisive. Even if they don't have it, it still works more often than not. I've been using it the last couple of days trying the game. I've not had one that went through. Not even one. But it's fine. I don't think that's a problem.
Well, that's because we heard this from the design council, from you guys, and we added a ton of error, so inaccuracy in those situations.
Yeah, that's a big one. People asking about the FPS, the frames per second on console. I have no idea. I don't even think, would you know that? I have no clue about that sort of stuff.
The game runs at 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
It's in the best case it should be as responsive in offline as it is in online with slight delay. There's always slight delay in online.
Yeah.
But really, all the changes we made this year are focusing on responsiveness.
No, it's good, and you can tell the difference.
So much to unpack there, okay? So first off, they're talking about stamina. This is one of those things where realism doesn't translate to on the sticks. So they're talking about you're playing a game, right, and it's a close matchup, and your players are all tired. You've already used your subs. Maybe you're in extra time. And because one player is just so drained, right, even after your subs, you can't sub them, it will affect the game. You'll have this close game the whole time, and next thing you know, because your player's drained, he can't run, and the opponent's able to just burst around you and win the game. And it's like all that for nothing, right? When in reality, these players who are on the pitch, no matter how tired they are, it's not like, let's say all of us who played football in real life, we're dead tired on the pitch, right? And then we make a run. yes, we're not going to be able to necessarily perform at the level that we did initially. That's no doubt about it. So the whole idea of the stamina drain, it does work in theory, right? It makes sense to put into the game. However, in the football side of things, the way that they can translate it isn't realistic. Having a player all of a sudden that's 99 speed go to like 60 speed because of a stamina drain, it doesn't work that way. Even if Mo Salah is dead tired, he's in the game, it's extra time, a ball goes through, and he has a chance to run on and finish it, he is going to be every bit as fast as he was the rest of the game. He's going to push himself, or at least close. It's definitely not going to be this drastic change, not like you see with the stamina drains. So the way they did it is stamina's still a thing, but then when you control a player, it's going to be, you're not going to see that huge difference when you have the ball or making runs or whatnot, right? It absolutely changes things. On the defensive end, you got a wingback that's just dead tired. Like I said, you used all your subs, or maybe that player just hit the red threshold, and then they get a ball, right? And because your player's so dead tired now, it's almost like the player's not there. He's a cone. He's been playing amazing all game, right? Shutting down the opponent. Skill-wise, you could shut down the opponent, but now, boom, you can't even move with that player. The opponent dribbles around, scores a goal, and it's all because of that stamina. When in reality, yes, players do get tired. Yes, they don't run at the exact same speed or perform the same. They make mistakes. However, it doesn't translate the same way. They wouldn't just all of a sudden become, start playing like they had huge weights on their ankles. Okay, so that's huge. But then talking about man, now that I went so into that, what, this is huge. But I got to remember
it. Honestly, guys, you don't know.
There's so much information.
It's a big difference. Low driven finesse.
The reactiveness, the responsiveness. How could I forget? Sorry, I'm diving into so much information, but the fact that they're talking about the responsiveness, that is ridiculously huge. So obviously, like I said, they made a lot of changes. Like when you're talking about faster gameplay, just don't think about like, oh, you're going to see the ball going a million miles an hour, because FC is already a faster pace, what people call an arcade feeling game. What they really mean, what they did at least, is it made it more like crisp, right? The passes have more intent. They're more crisp. The tackles, the movement, the sharp left stick dribbling with the in and out turns and cuts and stuff. The way players jockey with sharper ability to change direction and whatnot. It's still more realistic, but it's faster, right? It's not so lethargic. You're doing everything with a purpose, and that's actually more realistic. So I think they could have maybe explained that better. So yes, it's faster paced in the sense that the game is going to move faster, but it's more like what I would say is a sharper gameplay, right? Like I said, more intent. So I think players are going to love it. I know based on the looks of it and based on what I've heard from all these players that got to test the game, it is going to be amazing. Like the difference in left stick dribbling, that's going to come back as a skill which you want. Anything that can create a skill gap, anything that players can work on and become better at, such as left stick dribbling. There are so many big decisions you can make with left stick, and they sort of took that away when they made these players so stiff, right, and unresponsive. Not only that too, but you heard in here the design council, they actually had players this year that they spoke to and got feedback from on, okay, does this work? How about this? How about this? Should we implement this? What do you guys want to see? Here's what we made. Oh, nope, not good enough. Okay, we'll go back and make it better. That is huge. They should have been doing that every year. So, in conclusion, I could just keep clicking around this. This could be literally a 20-hour video with all the information that we could break down in this. However, I know you guys can go watch these for yourselves and sort of figure out what you feel about all these different, all this different feedback we're getting. I just wanted to point out that this is unprecedented, right? And if this is something that stays, and it's not just, hey, we did terrible with FC25, so we're going to give you all of these different interviews, all this different access, and show you like, oh yeah, we're doing this for the player base. Here you go, look, it's for the player base. As long as it's not just a publicity stunt, then it goes back to just, we hear crickets when we try to, get feedback from EA Sports. They just go, here, take the new game and be happy with it. Instead, they go this route of, what do you guys want? Okay, here's what we did. How do you like it? Okay, we'll improve there. And we have access to ask questions to kind of see their mindset and see where they're going, the path they're going down. So in case we start to see the wrong path, if you will, there's a way to give feedback. There's a connection there. Because after all, they are making the game for us and then taking our money in return. They're actually getting paid a lot of money themselves to make this game. So you might as well do it to fit what your player base wants, what the players you want to pay you money, what they want. And that's what they've been doing. So let's just hope it sticks around. Let me know what you think in the comments section of all this, right? I see some comments saying, I don't buy it. They do this crap every year. Even though they don't. This is a lot of what's happening with FC26. I get where you're coming from, but a lot of it is newer, right? And then my other question is for you who are pessimistic or are looking at this not as a positive. I get it, right? Because I poke holes in everything too. That's how you gotta be, and then you gotta be honest. If something's crap, you gotta call it crap. Call a spade, as they say. However, let me ask you this. If this was any other game, would you be happy? With all this content, all this information they're giving you, would you be happy? My guess is absolutely. Because no way Konami or Strikers ever does anything even close to this depth. So I think it's just more like EA Sports, and rightfully so. They earned that right to be not trusted. They earned the right to be hated even. But if you're keeping it real, all this information they're giving us is golden, right? And the access is brilliant. If they keep this up, then it's honestly great. So for all of you who are going to no doubt respond and who have this feeling overall like, they do this every year, they're lying to us, point out any year where they had this much connection to their development team and this much access to what's to come. Point out any year. Not only that, but if you say, this is just the same old nonsense, well, tell me what you would like to see differently then, right? Because it's important to not go down that bias route. You have to look at everything from an open mind. That's key in these decisions, whether it's what football game you're going to play, if you're going to play the game or not. You must keep an open mind. You can't let the past dictate your decisions on this game or on the future. So let's see what's going on. In my opinion, I think everything looks brilliant. And when they're showing the clips, some of them, yes, I wish I could see more, but for a lot of them, they're showing enough to see like, wow, that's going to be awesome. And I couldn't be more excited about FC26, right? And I haven't been able to say that for years. In the past, for example, at this point, I'd say, same old BS, here we go again. And then we'd still buy the game because we love football, and it just wouldn't be as fun, right? Oh, the new kits come out, some player changes, from transfers, stuff like that. But the game, same old BS. I feel like we're going to turn a corner with this. Mark my words. So, if you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Join my Discord. The link is in the YouTube bio. You literally go like this. And not only can you see the Discord link, which of course you should join, but you should also join my other social media on TikTok. There will be a ton of goal highlights, brilliant stuff from all the different football games. More to come there, as well as all the instant news that you want to hear about your favorite games on my X. So make sure you check all that out. Join, of course, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out.